Canik TP9SA. This is an upgrade from the original TP9 that I've reviewed and a number of other channels have reviewed over the past couple of years. The TP9 is made in Turkey, but it's made by the military contractor there in Turkey, and they are ISO 9000 certified, so there's a lot of quality that goes behind these pistols. One of the big things is that they are rated at 50,000 rounds through these guns. They've been tested for that, and they've won a lot of military trials over in Europe and of course in the Middle East. Comes in a really nice case with the Canik logo, close foam padding, which really holds up well. Of course, one of the cool things is you'll see you get the holster right with the gun. It is a Serpa-esque type holster with a trigger lock and release right here. It has a paddle and it has a belt loop attachment. Comes with an extra 18 round magazine, a larger replaceable back strap, a magazine loader, cleaning brush and rod, owner's manual, and it comes with a small metal tool to be able to change out your rear grip panel. Even the supplied lock is excellent, but it's still going in my junk drawer. Of course, we want to make sure the gun is unloaded. We're going to remove the magazine, check the chamber. Now we're going to do a full comparison between the TP9SA and the original TP9, but at first we're going to just take a look at a lot of the features that the TP9 has just as a pistol. It is a full-size pistol. It has a 7.5 inch overall length, a 5.25 inch overall height. The width of the pistol is about 1 1/8 inches, and it weighs 29 ounces with the magazine. Now to give you a size comparison, I have a Glock 17 right here. The guns are pretty close to being the same size. Of course, the TP9 does come out just a touch longer, but the barrel comes out just a bit longer on the Glock. But still, the TP9 is just a touch longer. The TP9, the magazine base plate comes out probably about 1/8 inch difference, and here you can see with the width. It has two 18 round magazines, and these are really high quality. Of course, you can see the bluing, but they're made by Metgar. Metgar makes most of your magazines for your pistols. They're just excellent high quality magazines, so most of your gun companies have Metgar make their mags. The magazines are drop free, which I really like, and then two, there is no magazine disconnect safety, which I really like. The button itself is metal, and it can be switched to the other side for ambidextrous carry. Now there's a lot about this pistol that is inspired by the Walther P99. It is a little thicker than the P99, and really the grip is not as P99-esque as the original TP9, again, which we're going to look at here in just a couple of minutes. Here's the decocker, and unlike the Walther P99, the decocker is only on one side on the Walther. On the Canik, it's on both sides. Now, one of the things about the decocker is that once the gun has been charged, and right here you can see that the striker is in the rear position. This is not a loaded chamber indicator. It's just telling you that the striker is in the cock position. All we have to do is hit the decocker, and it releases the striker without firing the pistol. Now, once you hit the decocker, it's going to release the striker, and then you're not going to have any action here with the trigger. It's going to be completely safe. That is even with a round in the chamber. Now to fire that round, all you need to do is, just like press check, just bring it back a little bit and you will re-engage the striker, and then you can fire the handgun. Now it does have the Glock style trigger assembly with this little blade, and you can see that right behind here it will depress that blade if you get a solid finger on the trigger. But if it gets on the side where it inadvertently hits, or up here, it's going to lock it. But just like the Glock, once that's depressed, you can fire the pistol. The trigger pull on the TP9SA is exceptional, to say the least. You go ahead and pull the trigger. It has a little bit of take up, but it has a really crisp snap. Very similar to the Walther PPQ. Reset on the pistol is super quick. Now here we have the Walther PPQ and the TP9SA. And I think that their triggers are very comparable. You'll notice that the Walther, there is some resistance and then a nice crisp snap. With the TP9, it is a really smooth take up, and again a very similar crisp snap. In fact, they feel pretty much the same. The biggest difference is that there's a little bit more resistance with the PPQ. I'll have to say that the trigger pull on the TP9SA has got to be the best, if not one of the top 3 triggers I've ever felt in a Striker-fire pistol. It's crisp, the reset is fast, the serrations on top of the slide help with glare, and then of course we have steel sights, which is definitely an improvement over the original Canik. It was polymer sights. It's a 3-dot design, but then it has this small little hash mark that helps you to line up with that center dot. Then you have your front dot there. They are really easy to pick up at the range. Sights are super easy to pick up. 3-dot, of course, I'm used to. The little line that's between the 2 dots in the rear, it just lines up that middle dot. But with that little line, it's just exceptional. This is in the 9mm. I believe there are plans for them to release a 40 caliber as well. It does have a cold hammer forged barrel, which is going to extend the life of the pistol. We're going to use a dummy round, and we have a loaded chamber indicator. It's tactile and it's also visual. And this is something they've added over the TP9 originally. There are a lot of differences between the Canik TP9 and the TP9SA. One of the things that you'll probably notice right away is the grip design is totally different. This is very reminiscent of the P99 with the hump here, with finger grooves. And really, to be honest with you, I really like this grip. The one thing that I did have a complaint though is that it wasn't grippy enough. Here it just has these serrations, but they're pretty smooth, and then the gripping here, the texturing is not very aggressive. It would feel the hand fine, but it would just feel a little bit loose. With the new design, it has these pyramid dots. They are really grippy, has a very nice feel to it. Here on the back and on the front. Also, even the side texturing panel. This has a little more grip to it. It's not too grippy, and it's real comfortable, but you definitely have a considerable amount of grip just even in this panel. The finger grooves were also removed on the new model. Okay. Now at the back as well, with the new model, it has more of a V-shaped for the beaver tail. Also, you have indentions here to thin the grip out, which you don't have with the original model. Here you can see these lines. It really allows the hand to get really close up. Here with the original, it does have recesses, but they're not near as deep as they are on the new model. The mag release and the safety are the same, but this has been guarded just a little bit more with some buildup, which this does not have. Also, the trigger guard, which has been squared off a little bit more on the TP9SA. The front has serrations, which the original TP9 has a smooth trigger guard. Now they went from 1 slot on the accessory rail to 3 slots on the accessory rail, just to make it more compatible with more systems. But one thing you'll notice is that they've extended the barrel about a 1/2 inch on the new model. So you went from a 4-inch barrel to about a 4.5-inch barrel. This is going to add a little bit of length over the original model. And here you can see where the scallop comes down, that's the additional length. Here's the old Canik logo compared to the new, more modern logo. Have TP9, the font's changed, the TP9SA. Steel sights versus the polymer sights, and of course they've retained the Decocker. But the biggest thing they've done internally is the trigger. And with the original TP9, it has a double, which comes all the way to here, and see it cocks itself. And you can look at the full review of the original TP9. I'll have it annotated right here and down in the description. Then you have your single action. Really a vast improvement with the single action on the new model. You bring the single action, there's some play right here, and then it's more of a Glock-esque kind of soft sponge trigger. And then again on the SA model, a little bit of take up, but it's a really crisp break. I mean, that is a vast improvement over the original. The SA model also has a small little finger pad right here to be able to rest your finger, which the original does not. Now, the original allowed for a large base plate, which it has a small little tang that comes down. Then it fits really nice into the mag well. But the new SA has a very thin base pad, and so the grip comes all the way down and it fits really nice. But it doesn't change the height. It's still the same height even with this added base pad. Now, it was purported that the new SA model would also accept Beretta M9 magazines. Here is a Beretta magazine, and we're going to compare it to the standard TP9 magazine. If you'll notice, the magazine release notch is a lot lower on the Beretta magazine. And also, placing it in, it wouldn't even go. And once I pushed the notch, it would go, but it wouldn't catch. I tried this with a number of different type Beretta M9 magazines. This just happens to be a military surplus that I had right here. But I tried about 6 different type. Because the notch doesn't line up, these aren't going to work anyway. So I think there was some confusion that they were Italian mags and the M9 mags, but these obviously will not take your Beretta M9 magazines. If they did, that would be great, because I can find these from $8 to $10 a piece. But really, to be honest, the Medgar magazines are just over $20 anyway. So these are very reasonable, unlike a lot of type pistols that you get where the magazines can run up to $40 and $50 if you can find them. While the original Canik magazine will not fit in the new SA model, it's only because of this base pad. If you take this base pad off and you put the shorter base pad on, it will fit. They are the same. In fact, you can see that the SA magazine will fit in the original Canik. And of course, that base pad shape is right here. From all indications, the slides are the same pretty much, and that they should work on either pistol. I even took the slides on the two and switched them back and forth, and they fit well. So I didn't really fire any rounds with it yet, but I'm planning to. I didn't want to do it until I really did the review to make sure that I didn't do something that I really shouldn't have done. Now, as far as disassembly of the pistol, and of course we're going to double check to make sure the gun is unloaded, all you need to do is to pull down on these tabs, and there's one on either side, just like the Walther. Pull down, you can pull the trigger or you can hit the decocker, and then the slide just comes right off. Here it has the flat recoil spring, which this does really help with accuracy. A lot of pistols are going to this. It just really softens the recoil. You have your barrel, and of course it's the linkless Browning design. Just again, cold hammer forged barrel. It is chrome lined to help keep corrosion down, but just an excellent barrel system. Here the internals, of course, very polymer frame Glock-like or other polymer frame pistols. You have your slide rails here and here. Here the original Canik at the top, and then at the bottom the SA. They're pretty much identical. I mean, everything looks the same. All the dimensions are the same. The biggest difference is the trigger. Now here you get a little bit better look at how the trigger mechanisms work. Right here on the right is the original, and then on the left the SA. You can see there are totally different styles and the parts that are moving in there. Original has a little bit more of resistance and a little bit more grit while I'm pulling. With the SA, it is really smooth. You can even hear the difference. The only difference I found with the slide, beside the length, is that the rail right here on the original is a little thicker than the rail right here. Other than that, everything is in the same place, and it's all the same configuration. Of course, they have added the loaded chamber indicator, but that wouldn't affect any of the internals as far as the functioning of the pistol. Of course, reassembly, place the barrel back in, your recoil spring, place the slide on the frame, pull it back, and you're done. I love the finish on the holster. I love the trigger lock with the release. Very Serpa-like. One of the things I don't like though is on the paddle, this little clip is not really tight enough. It doesn't really clip in well. I know when I drew one time, it actually came out with the pistol. But to carry the TP9 to the range, or even if I wanted to open carry or carry outside the belt, I would definitely go with the belt loop attachment for the holster. The manufacturer suggested retail price on the Canik TP9SA is going to be $399. And of course, once that gets out into the market, the price will be less. I think the original Canik right now is running around the $309 to $319 mark in your local gun shops. And I would definitely recommend the regular Canik, but for the improvements that the SA made, I think this is definitely a better choice. So really, for probably about $350, it's going to be hard to beat. From what I understand, there are plans to move a facility here in the US, and with that they'll be able to make compact versions of this pistol. And when they do, my plan is to definitely get one. You know, that's one of the problems with imports, is there's a lot of restrictions with size. And so while this is a full-size pistol, a great car gun, a great stash gun, you know, but yet it's an excellent home defense gun. Century Arms has been importing firearms for a number of years, and it's really great to be able to get really quality firearms at reasonable prices. I've seen a lot of different imported firearms. Some of them not so good. The Canik ISO 9000, it's a military contractor, 50,000 rounds of ammunition tested through these pistols. I think it's just a win-win. The Canik TP9SA, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. The decocker, right here at the top, is a decocker, and it's ambidextrous on both sides. On the Walther, you only have one side that it will decock. This on top is the decocker, and it does, these are the same magazines that are used with the standard TP9. Is it the same? But this Canik, but the Canik is top-notch. I've seen a lot of different quality. I've seen a lot of different with a nice butt pad, and this is not the right butt pad.
Oh yeah,